You probably saw the Bought First Built video a few days ago. If not, feel free to check it out. But just wanted to go and provide a mid-off-season update, or I guess, I don't know, beginning off-season update. We're not racing for a little bit, but would like to get some testing in sooner than later. So a lot of the damage that happened in Irwindale basically has been repaired. It was all done to this side when I hit the wall, and we ended up twisting the subframe, or the old one. This is now a brand new one, and had to replace the steering rack, or John had to rebuild the steering rack and then insert a new Wisefab piece into there. And then he actually moved the rack forward a little bit as well. So that should help with a little bit of additional angle, and I think a little bit better steering response as well. To be determined. I mean, we haven't tested the car quite yet, and there's still a decent number of upgrades that we're doing in this off season, including one is brake line. So, basically converted this to be a banjo bolt and banjo fitting, so that in case we rip a brake line, we can just have the same brake line for both sides, which means it's a lot easier to replace. And it's one of those things when you're, and who knows where in the country, and you need something done custom or immediately, you don't really know where to go, and that's kind of a stressful thing to try to figure out in the few hours that you have before you have to either go up for qualifying next or go and get ready for a battle. So now we can just bring a spare brake line with us, and if for whatever reason we wipe out a brake line or it comes off, easily replaceable with a spare that's works for both left and right sides.
Metal is actually still underneath, so I didn't modify that. That is actually all still factory underneath of it. So for rules, you have to have like planes that are connected. So the back plane is completely unmodified. The front plane is actually still there, but we put a reinforcement over the top edge just so the subframe doesn't break in half again, because the Wisefab has you remove so much of the metal. And then the actual motor mounts, where the factory motor mounts hooked up, in the accident actually bent and bowed the subframe in the middle. So this time I welded like triangular plates to stiffen up the actual mounting location, so the subframe won't basically bend if we hit something again. So it's not no suspension anchoring points have been modified. It's just we modified it so if you do tag something, we don't move the motor again, because that was unforeseen. But now it's, it shouldn't be an issue in the future now. And I don't know, same with the oil pan, like putting the spacers on the, when you wipe the suspension off and, we skid on the oil pan corner, we realized that if we basically just space the sway bar down slightly, then if you do wipe the control arm off, you'll skid on the sway bar versus skid on the oil pan, because you can drive without a sway bar, but you can't drive without an oil pan. So,
well, you can't drive for very long without an oil pan.
Yes, yeah, it's a lot more expensive of a thing to wipe out. So I don't know. I said that was just you live, you learn kind of stuff, and in those kind of accident situations, like you don't know until it happens, and then you see what happens and you're like, well, we could do this better, we could do this better. I said same with the crash bar, like the front crash bar, we added one more internal link like to connect back in, so that in the situation that if we do clip it, it should put the force back into the bar and maybe save some more of the suspension. The last time I said the crash bar worked and saved the car, but it did take all the suspension off the one side. So maybe with that reinforcement, it will be able to skip the car a little bit more, and we might be able to save the knuckle, probably still break the control arm, but it might not break the knuckle next time, because it took away some more of that, energy that's being put into the car. So that's just, we got to crash in, and we got to learn from, what it did to the actual car. So car worked great. Crash bar did fine. It's just if we can next time not have to replace a knuckle, I think that's going to be the best outcome.
John also came in the rear, and he fixed the bash bar. So now there's a brand new one, where this one had folded in. It took a pretty hard impact again on the wall at Irwindale, which sent me, it tapped the back, and then it sent me into the front and caused a decent amount of damage, but it's all good. So I think at this point, you've largely completed all the crash damage stuff from Irwindale, and now we're more focused on the additional upgrades that were not linked to the crash.
Yeah, new computer system type stuff because we have to switch to the Link. Supercharger and cooling system upgrades, just to basically the cooling system on the supercharger, we were fighting through issues amongst other teams, but we got it under control, but we're gonna like chase down efficiency on it and the standard system now for this year, and maybe try to get some more grip out of the car, try some new suspension tweaks to see how what's left in it, because there's not a lot of suspension stroke on FRSs. So if we can find a way to get a little bit more out of the shocks, we'll be in better shape. So we got some plans in the works.
Yeah, so that's basically the quick update. This car is definitely going to look completely different, so no more Hot Wheels design. I'll have to talk about that a little bit more. I know, obviously, there's a very specific reason why it was Hot Wheels in 2021, and the people that know me personally, they know the story behind it, and it's one that I love to tell. So at some point I will make a video explaining the whole reason why my car looked like a Hot Wheels car. And they'll always continue so long as I have a say in the livery design as well. Blue and red wheels are always going to be the base of my livery, pending other partners and that kind of thing. But again, it's just one of those organic stories that I love, that connects me to my passion for motorsports and racing, that I can link back to my early days of interest in cars in general. So that's kind of the overall update. Over the next few weeks, John's continuing to knock out some of the upgrades that we have, and I'll probably be back over here in a few weeks and we'll chat then. So again, till next time, thanks so much, and please like and subscribe.